Good morning and a very warm welcome to join our showcase today. Along with our two guests from MAS as well as SGTraDex, we are going to share with you our journey on how we simplify green trade finance with the adoption of technology today. But let us just first ask the question of why green trade finance is important or relevant to all corporates. The size of global merchandise trade was valued at close to $35 trillion as in 2019. Singapore alone contributes about $800 billion of this global trade flows, among which about 70 billion of this were involving products which can or has the potential to be qualified as green for trade and working capital finance. The size of the global merchandise trade is significant, and the product traded that could qualify is also substantial. So with that, UOB has actually pioneered the provision of green trade finance facility under Green Finance Industry Task Force, GFIX, Green and Sustainable Trade Finance and Working Capital Framework earlier this year. When implementing the process, we observed heavy documentation requirement. There is no centralized certification database for banks to validate project green status. Furthermore, there is a lack of standardized green trade finance taxonomy or the requirement to have certification agency. A considerable amount of effort is needed to ensure all relevant green certifications are fulfilled. Hence, the call for industry partners and technology enabler are crucial to simplify green trade finance for all. Today, we are very privileged to have Maxine from MAS to share with us how MAS Project Greenprint is going to pave the way to aid this adoption of green trade finance. Maxine, over to you.
Thank you, Poi. MAS has recently launched Project Greenprint, which is a collection of initiatives that aims to harness technology to support green finance ecosystem. We aim to support financial institutions in three ways. First, in mobilizing capital towards green and sustainable investments and projects in various sectors. Second, to support the financial institutions as they step up to measure the ESG commitments at both the entity as well as the portfolio levels. And third, to support financial institutions as they look to better understand and quantify how their investments and use of proceeds are making real-world impact, and also how they can measure and mitigate the climate, environmental, and transitional risks impacting financial resilience of the financial institutions as well as the sector. But to make green finance work effectively, we need to solve the 3 Ds, which is definition, disclosure, and data. We must develop compatible definitions or taxonomies for green and transitional activities, implement a consistent set of global standards for disclosures and reporting, and improve the quality, availability, and comparability of the data. Specific to our collaboration with UOB and SGTraDex on green trade finance, MAS with SGTraDex and other fintech industry players will establish the necessary enabling data platforms to facilitate the trusted ground-up data flows from sectoral projects back to the banks, so that the banks can ensure that these projects are able to and continue to meet the requirements of green finance framework. The first enabling platform is Data Orchestrator Platform, which is to aggregate and simplify access to common but fragmented ESG data sources. This we will rely on SGTraDex. The second enabling platform we will be developing is a distributed ledger-based ESG registry to record, digitalize, and maintain the provenance of ESG certifications and data accorded by qualified certifiers based on sectoral sustainability standards. Such certifications today are not easily accessible digitally, given that there are hundreds of certification bodies across so many different sectors. It is difficult to ensure the provenance of these certifications. The longer-term vision for these platforms is for them to be interoperable with other global data orchestrator and registries so that they can be globally relevant. For that to happen, we will explore collaborations with international partners to define common standards and governance frameworks to support interoperability across these multiple platforms. In addition, we also envision a network of ESG registries can provide traceability and computational carbon footprint across value chain to support tracking of Scope 3 emissions in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Quexin, for sharing how Project Greenprint is going to bring fragmented green data sources together to really enhance the transparency and disclosure. Now we'll turn over to Antoine to share with us how SGTraDex will facilitate the flow of such data across ecosystem players when enabling green trade financing process. Over to you, Antoine.
Thanks, Poye. So let me start first with some background on what we believe at SGTraDex, what we are trying to achieve, and then talk about how we're going to synergize with MAS, UOB, and the green trade finance digitalization use case to support the ecosystem. Our belief is that data needs to be shared between stakeholders across the end-to-end supply chain in a trusted, secure, and inclusive way, what we call share to gain. So we are building SGTraDex, a data sharing infrastructure to seamlessly connect supply chain participants and allow them to exchange key data while respecting their existing commercial relationship. With this green trade finance use case, our goal is really to digitalize the exchange of data between corporates, financial institutions, certification body, and other data sources such as supplier, logistic provider, and asset operator. As a result, we will mitigate inefficiencies in the process of assessing whether the trade is genuinely green, build trust between the various participants, therefore strengthening green and sustainability-linked trade. As a neutral, open-to-all data orchestrator, we are well positioned to facilitate, accelerate, and scale connectivity between ecosystem participants. SGTraDex is easy to use. Participants can plug and play and exchange data seamlessly. We respect data privacy with our design. Data sharing is consent-based and safeguard existing relationship. Security is built at the core. We do not store or see data. The exchange is completely encrypted. We also strongly believe there is significant value for corporates to join us as development partner on this use case. It's about leading the advancement of digitalization and the green effort. It's about strengthening key business relationship with financial institutions, leveraging interoperability with other platforms and accessing additional data set and data service, and obviously capturing efficiency through digitalization. Our approach is action-oriented and outcome-driven. Therefore, the initial use case scope is quite focused in nature, but we foresee clear axis of expansion with new sector and end-to-end coverage. If you want to transform your industry, join our movement and be the change you want to see.
Thank you so much, Antoine. Now, in conclusion, an effective green trade finance infrastructure plays a critical role for Singapore to maintain its status as a key trade hub, as well as to realize our aspiration to be a sustainable financing hub. UOB will be leading a consortium of banks consisting of DBS, OCBC, and Standard Chartered Bank to drive green trade finance use cases, along with MAS Project Greenprint and collaborating with SGTraDex to connect all the ecosystem players on a single platform. The establishment of Green Certificate Repository to facilitate green trade finance is just the first step. Our vision is to eventually facilitate traceability. It is envisaged that in the end state, stakeholders including consumer, buyers, financier, and regulator can access such information easily through SGTraDex. Whether you are looking to incorporate sustainability into your business, or if you are a service provider, you can reach out to us via the QR code on the screen, and we look forward to engaging with you to make green trade finance simple and accessible. With that note, thank you again, dear guests, Quexin and Antoine, for being with us today to share, as well as our audience for spending time with us today. Thank you very much.